He walked onto that stage holding nothing but a hammer and a dream. No manager. No vocal coach. No fancy clothes. Just a worn-out flannel shirt, dusty work boots, and hands so calloused from years of carpentry that the microphone looked almost foreign in his grip. The audience at America's Got Talent had seen thousands of acts. They thought they had seen everything. They were wrong. Ernesto Vega was 54 years old. He had never performed on a stage in his life. But 2 years before this moment, something happened that changed everything. Ernesto's wife, Maria, was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. The medical bills came like a flood. He lost the small carpentry shop he had built over 27 years. He lost his truck. He almost lost his home. But through every dark and painful night, Maria would hum an old song, a melody she had sung since childhood. And Ernesto, who had never written a song in his life, sat down one sleepless night at 3 a.m., picked up a pencil, and wrote one for her. He never planned to share it. It was just for Maria. But Maria passed away 7 months ago. And when Ernesto arrived at the AGT auditions, shaking so hard his knees nearly buckled, he carried that song with him like it was all he had left of her. Because it was. Simon Cowell leaned back in his chair, arms folded, expression unreadable, the look he always had right before he crushed someone's dream. The other judges exchanged polite smiles. The audience buzzed with quiet skepticism. A carpenter? Really? Ernesto stepped to the microphone. He looked out at the crowd. His eyes were red. His lips were trembling. He said only this song is for my wife. She asked me once to build her a home she could never leave. I couldn't do that. But I can do this. And then he sang. The first note silenced the room. Not a polite silence. Not a waiting silence. A stunned, breathless, complete silence, the kind that only falls when something real is happening. Ernesto's voice was raw and imperfect and completely, devastatingly human. It cracked in all the right places. It swelled where it needed to. And the words he had written at 3 a.m. while his wife slept through another round of chemotherapy, those words hit the audience like a wave they never saw coming. Simon Cowell uncrossed his arms. He leaned forward. That never happens. The producers backstage noticed immediately. Cameras swung toward Simon's face. His jaw was tight. His eyes, those cold, calculating eyes, were glassy. By the second verse, 3 audience members were openly weeping. By the chorus, a woman in the front row had her hand pressed to her mouth, unable to breathe. One of the other judges quietly wiped a tear and looked away, as if trying to hide it. Ernesto never looked at the judges. He sang to the ceiling, or maybe beyond it, like he was singing to someone only he could see. His voice broke once, hard, on the final line. He didn't recover from it. He let it break. And somehow that broken note was the most powerful moment in the whole performance. When the last sound faded into silence, nobody moved. For 5 full seconds, which on live television is an eternity, the entire theater was completely still. Then it erupted. The crowd rose to its feet so fast it looked like the building itself was breathing. The roar was deafening. People were hugging strangers. Someone was screaming, "Golden buzzer," over and over. 2 judges were standing. One was clapping with tears streaming down her face. And Simon Cowell, sat very still for a moment. Then he stood up slowly. He did not clap wildly. He pressed his hands together once, firmly, and nodded. Just once. But anyone who has watched this show for years knows what that nod means from Simon. It means you did something that cannot be undone. Something real. When the noise finally settled enough to speak, Simon leaned into his microphone. He looked at Ernesto, this dusty, heartbroken, trembling carpenter, and said something that he has almost never said in 20 years of judging talent shows. He said, "I don't have any notes." The audience lost their minds. Ernesto stood at the microphone. He was crying now, silently, his shoulders shaking. He pressed one calloused hand to his chest. He looked up once more at the ceiling. "Maria," he whispered. "They heard you. What happened next will be talked about for years." A judge stood up, walked to the edge of the panel, and reached for the button. The button no one expected. The one Ernesto never even dared to dream about. The stage exploded in gold. Ernesto Vega, carpenter, widower, first-time performer, had just received the golden buzzer. And somewhere, you have to believe, Maria was smiling.